Good afternoon, traders and investors. Will back here with another one. The green continues in the market here. As you guys can see, SPY and QQQ up for the day, but we are starting to get a little bit red here. So is it finally time to start our potential pullbacks here to set the daily higher lows and then move on for leg number 2? We're going to take a look at that, guys. But it was an overall beautiful Monday. Hope you guys had a great weekend as well here. So today we're going to take a look at our major indexes. We're going to take a look at our major tech names. And lastly, a little glimpse into my portfolio. Did open a few positions, but not too many, as I am personally expecting a little pullback, and I'm waiting for that pullback to write more positions here, guys. So not that much macro news today. Also, not that many earnings today, but we do have a bunch of earnings remaining for the week. Not that much macro this week either. No big statements by Jerome Powell. No CPI numbers either. So it will pretty much be an earnings week here as a whole. So tomorrow you'll see we do have Uber. We do also have Celsius. Celsius, one of my favorite growth stocks in the entire market right now. Haven't talked about it a lot on the channel, but that's because it hasn't been in a dip opportunity for a very long time. But we will see tomorrow on earnings what happens here. Datadog, another cybersecurity play that we can look at, and DR Horton here as well, the home builders. We know that home building has been slowing down, so very curious to see their guidance as of tomorrow, guys. And we do have Rivian. I do have a position in Rivian tomorrow, so we will obviously take a look at that. And the rest of the week, you can see a lot of decent companies are reporting as well. Going to take a look at Roblox. Going to obviously take a look at Disney. Going to be a very, very big one on Wednesday here after the close. And then on Thursday, there are a couple ones here. I want to take a look at Unity Software, guys, the gaming company. They're going to be interesting. And Trade Desk are going to be the main ones that I'm going to be covering on the channel here. Trade Desk, still one of my pure form advertising plays here in the market. Haven't picked it up for a very long time, as it has had a significant rally here. But coming back into the potential lower 70s and higher 60s, I may just be interested in this stock. So we will see what happens with it on earnings here, guys. So without further ado, let's get right into our indexes. So on the whole there today, guys, you can see that on the heat map here, we had a fairly mixed market. Big tech leading the rally to the upside for the most part, but a lot of the market starting to show signs of weakness, signs of pullback here, guys, right? Financials were down slightly. Healthcare was up. Eli Lilly still leading the charge after their very beautiful earnings last week here, but a very, very mixed market as a whole, not as broad as last week for sure. Now you can see on the one-day relative performance, only about half the market was in the green, but a lot more sectors pulling back in the red and pulling back a little bit heavy. And on the 1 week relative, you obviously see that we are still very, very, very green, as last week was a very beautiful leg of recovery here. So where do we stand on our indexes, guys? Let's have a look here. Well, SPY coming up into resistance, guys. I want you to take a look at this beautiful little resistance channel that we're kind of coming up into right now, right? Between these two yellow lines, it's been acting as areas of contention in the past, and I do suppose that this will be no different here. So pulling up into our little resistance area, very possible that the bulls need to potentially take some time off, reset a little bit lower, set that daily higher low. Anything above 409 is going to be a daily higher low for you for potential leg number 2 to the upside here, and continuing our beautiful weekly recovery. We covered last Friday and Saturday's video here. We did cover how the longer term time frames were looking very, very bullish by now, right? Weekly engulfing move. That's exactly what you want to see. So bulls, step number 1, engulfing move on the daily. Just need to see them set the daily uptrend here. I would be targeting personally the moving averages. Watch this confluence of moving averages down here, right? The 427 all the way up to roughly 430 pocket. That's where I would be targeting a slight little pullback, guys, but that's all I'm expecting here for the S&P 500. Now let's move down to QQQ. QQQ, same concept, coming up against our pretty much our channel here, right? Our downtrending channel coming up against the upper band of that right now. So likely to encounter some resistance. I would be very surprised if bulls can get it done in one clean shot. We are targeting some resistance as well. Horizontal resistance around between 371 and 372, this whole little pocket right here, which was also an area of resistance back here as well, guys. So pulling up into resistance was a beautiful move, but you can see on these lower time frames, guys, the 4-hour remains severely overbought on QQQ and even on SPY. So a little pullback would not surprise me, but little is the key word here, guys. Expecting just a very slight pullback. The bulls have set themselves up very nicely for a higher low setup, for a potential smash of this area here. And the weekly shows it best here. You guys can see this weekly engulfing move going to be very tough for the bears to just come all the way back here, especially with most of our negative macro now out of the way. So if we do have a little bit of a pullback here, guys, target once again your moving averages. I would expect between 360 and 362 is going to be the area for that. But bulls looking very, very, very healthy. We're just expecting potentially a very small pullback and reset for a potential move higher, in my opinion here. Now let's move down to XLF. So XLF financials already starting a little bit of weakness here at the top. You can see that they're obviously struggling with this area. We'll map it here on the chart between these two yellow lines, right? So between $33.50 and roughly $34, it's going to be your area of contention, right? Previous support and now previous resistance as well. So unsurprising that the bulls are kind of struggling in this area after such a massive move to the upside here. So any move down, guys, will just be for a daily higher low for a potential start of leg number 2. On the weekly, I'll remind you, weekly engulfing move of the most recent selling leg down was very, very, very bullish. So I am expecting bulls to continue their move to the upside. So looking for a slight little bear flag here, bull flag here into potential leg number 2. Once again, target your moving averages potentially 33 all the way between 33.50, this little pocket right here, guys. If we can stay really smooth and cut shallow into this move and then pop again for leg number 2, that will be a completion of your weekly engulfing move. Going to set the bulls up nicely for a weekly trend change here. So financials looking very, very good after coming off the bottoms here. Now, XLV Healthcare, one of our sectors that didn't bounce as much as the rest here. As you can see, they did not engulf the most recent move. Healthcare had a heck of a drop here, but we are above this area of contention, right? 127 down to 125, guys. You know that I've been referencing this area for a while. It's a very, very, very big area of contention here. And now you can see we've put in a very beautiful demand pattern. So whenever you see 2 weekly candles down and then up right away against each other, that is a nice little signal of demand here. It creates pretty much on the higher time frames a signal of demand as well. So you know that bulls are playing ball down here when we get into these levels. So they've put in enough of a move. If you want to put the fib on this, right? They've come up approximately roughly about 618, right? 618 is the area that I've been always targeting, guys. It just says that when the bulls are able to recapture 62% of the move, they have a very decent probability of being able to reset for a daily trend change here. So if we do pull back, guys, I am targeting this little area target, the 12 EMA, right below 127 here. In this support area between these 2 yellow lines, going to be very tough for the bears to just roll over now that we're back above this area. So target this little area here for a potential second leg higher here. Daily trend change would be in motion at that point, and we would start recapturing more of this third weekly leg down, right? 1, 2, 3. And now we're looking for the engulfing move for the bulls to reverse daily and weekly at the same time. Now let's move down to the Russell. Russell 2000 having some weakness today, 1.25% to the downside, but it is completely to be expected, guys. They did a great job here of engulfing this most recent leg of selling down in only 4 days, so the bulls need a little bit of a break. We are looking for the daily higher low. Anything above 162 is going to be potential for a daily higher low. Target my little green box here. This is the area that I've been looking for shares of the Russell in. So if we do start pulling back here, guys, I'm going to be very, very, very interested here in picking up potential shares of the Russell in the form of writing short puts against the index here. So if we pull back in the 170, 169 range, I will be targeting the lower 165 all the way down to 162. We'll see how much premium there are on the contracts. If we do pull back, guys, just target these EMAs and the start of this zone here. 168 is going to be the little pocket that we're looking for here for the bulls' attempt at a daily trend change. I'll also remind you that the weekly looks a lot worse than a lot of the other sectors here. The bulls still with a lot of work to do on the weekly. So we're going to start one thing at a time, need to see that daily trend change first, and then we'll see how much of this weekly leg down can the bulls recapture. I'd like to see them get at least up to 180 before putting in your weekly higher low attempt for the bulls here, potentially later on in the year here, later on in November, potentially even early December. So we'll see how it goes, but decent little bounce underway by the Russell. Now need them to set the daily trend changes. So same across all indexes, looking for those daily trend changes. Now, Dow Jones here. Dow Jones also performing very, very, very well. You can see engulfing move by the bulls here, but bulls, once again, getting a little bit tired here. We're going to map this out on the chart for you guys right now. Running into resistance. This whole area has been resistance. It's been resistance a lot in the past, resistance a lot in the past, support here, right? And resistance in the past here back in October. So it's no surprise that the bulls are struggling in this area right now. This is going to be the turnaround zone, in my opinion here. So if we do turn around here, just looking as similar to the rest of the indexes, looking for the daily higher low here for a potential daily trend change and smash through these areas of resistances, right? So very beautiful move by the bulls here off the lows. Anything above 32,300 will just be a higher low attempt for your daily trend change here. If we do pull back, guys, target this area of confluence, 33,500 and all the way to 33,800. That's where all of your moving averages are. So in my opinion, that is where the bulls are likely to pull back into to gain more support here for a potential second move higher. I'll remind you on the weekly, nice 1, 2, 3 legs down, and now boom, engulfing this most recent selling leg. Bulls looking very, very, very healthy on the weekly here. Need to see them push a little bit more. So if they take this week off, right, and potentially set a little bull flag here for 1 week, I would like to see them push up in the next 2 weeks, really to capitalize here on this bullish momentum to the upside here. So most of our major indexes looking exactly the same in terms of that, guys. We are just looking, once again, we're looking for the daily trend changes. These bounces are nice, but it's only 1 out of 2 steps. I need to see the daily trend changes. I think we're going to get them. Why? Only because the size of the weekly engulfing moves on everything. So bulls looking very, very, very good, guys. And there's still a lot of discounts here, guys. So before we get into our major tech, I just wanted to show which stocks that I'm looking for the week here. I will be looking for potential pullbacks on SPGI, one of my favorite value companies in the entire market. If we do pull back here on SPGI, I will be looking to write some options between 370 and 360. Obviously, this green box is my sweet spot for this stock. You guys know it. I've talked a lot about it on the channel here. So if we do pull back on SPGI, I'm looking for some positions in this whole area right here. And second, we have a Louis Vuitton, right? Louis Vuitton, one of my other favorite value / growth names in the entire market. We are in my sweet spot right now, guys. My sweet spot is pretty much 165 all the way down to 140, and we're still in this spot right now. So I will be looking to potentially add some shares on any pullback this week here. Now that we're trying for the daily trend change here, gonna be looking to add in the lower 140 levels on Louis Vuitton, one of my favorite stocks in the market. Third, we have Fortinet. Fortinet had their earnings last week. It's what I was waiting for. After the stock's been hovering in the $56 to $60 range pretty much ever since last earnings here. Now they reported this earnings, and I think all the negative news is out of the stock at this point, guys. So I am positioned this week in Fortinet once again with the 4750 strike here on the put side. So I'm looking to buy shares at 47.50 if ever the stock closes by there on Friday here, right? So Fortinet, very, very good area in my opinion, guys. Very, very bullish long-term chart. Decent area of support. We now have earnings that are all the way through here, and on the lower time frames we were pretty oversold. Very, very good value in this company at these levels, so I am looking to play this stock as well. Fourth, we do have Airbnb as well. Love this company, guys, especially since they've been turning consistent profit, consistent net income, and obviously raising their nightly average usage, right, of their spaces here. So they've been putting out very, very good numbers in terms of revenue, net income, and nightly experiences here. So very, very bullish on the company as a whole. I like it more towards the 110. Anything below 110 is a buy for me personally. So I do also have a position on Airbnb for the week. Down at the 113 strike right below here is exactly where I want this stock. But if we can get even lower, so be it. I'm looking for Airbnb this week and potentially next week as well. And before last, we do have American Express. American Express, also one of my favorite value names that I covered in the top 10 value stocks for pretty much the end of 2023 into 2024. Almost nearing my sweet spot, guys, 149 all the way down to 131. So we're kind of pulling out of it now as the bulls try to reset for a daily trend change here. So if we do pull back a little bit into the later part of the week, there wasn't that much premium today, guys. But if we pull back sub 150, I will be looking for 147 and below for the strikes this week. That is just a play that I'm very, very keen on, guys. If I ever get assigned American Express, I'm never mad. I love this company, and they are trading at a very decent discount, trading in my sweet spot, and I really did love their earnings. They provided very, very good earnings and guidance here. So that's stock number 5. And then lastly, Vici. I will be looking for some Vici shares this week, guys. Options not so good on Vici because they're pretty much monthly contracts, not very traded that much here, but Vici remains in my sweet spot here. 29 all the way down to 26 is my sweet spot area. Looking to pick up this REIT, one of my favorite REITs, my favorite REIT in the entire space, as a matter of fact here. So we are looking for the daily trend change. Any single pullback here below 29, I will be probably looking to pick up some straight shares of this stock over the next 2 weeks and try to ride this higher. It's in a very, very good area of support here, right? Previous support from pretty much last year. Very, very nice conditions here, and I loved their earnings as well. We covered them on the channel here. So that's pretty much it for my weekly watch list that I'm looking out for. My main stocks, obviously there's a bunch of others that I'm always looking at, but those are my top 6 for the week. Now, looking at Apple here, let's get into our major tech, yeah? So Apple, beautiful day on Apple. I was expecting some pullback, but we did not get pullback on major tech. You guys know we got pullback on a lot of other things, but not on major tech. So Apple continues its march higher. Love to see it here, guys. So still looking for an eventual daily trend change. The bulls just marching on at this point, doing their best to reverse the weekly time frame at the same time, right? 182.50 is going to be the level to watch, guys. If we can get all the way up to 182.50, the bulls setting themselves up nicely for a longer time frame trend change here, the weekly, right? So they haven't changed the time frame. They haven't changed the trend on the daily yet. This is all one big move, in my opinion, here after their earnings, right? So we just are looking for a daily pullback. If we do pull back, guys, into the 175 area, you guys know that I will be writing more Apple shares. I've been playing Apple for the last pretty much month, ever since we've been down in this area, and I will continue to do so. If we get some pullback tomorrow or Wednesday, I will be shopping for some Apple under 175 down to 170. But as of now, bulls looking very, very healthy, creating a lot of space off the lows. So any dip will be a buying opportunity for a daily trend change here and more of a weekly recapture as the bulls are seeking to change this weekly trend to the upside eventually. Now let's move down to AMD. AMD, very, very good performance by AMD, down slightly on the day, 0.45%, but holding near the highs, guys. They are really holding above our previous resistance. They've now turned it pretty much into support, this whole area right here. You can see the bulls are not willing to give up too much here. So I did leave my contracts on AMD from last week, in the terms of covered calls. My average is all the way down here at 96.75. We got assigned at 102 and we got a premium. We wrote premium all the way down here. So I'm sitting very, very comfortably on AMD, was comfortable enough to let them ride into this week. So any pullback on AMD at this point will be for your daily higher low for your potential daily trend change. This is a nice daily move, but need to see the daily trend changes. Most of the indexes, most of these stocks look the same. They've had a very bullish move up. Now we need to see the trend change. So step number one is complete. Need to see the daily trend change. And on the weekly, guys, the weekly, however, we already got the daily trend change, right? Double bottom here at your lows, and now cracking through the highs here pretty much. Weekly trend change on AMD, which means that your monthly consolidation on AMD is finished, and now we are looking for another monthly leg up here. Very, very bullish. So I'm not expecting much pullback on AMD, but if we do pull back here below 110, I may even start writing potentially the 107s down to the 105s. I think this is a very good area. My sweet spot is obviously down here, which is the area that we've been playing for over 2 months at this point, guys. We've made a lot of money on AMD contracts, and I do believe we can continue to do so if we get a little pullback. AMD bulls looking very, very, very healthy. So just look for that pullback into your daily trend change on AMD. Amazon continuing to march higher here, 0.82% to the upside here, guys, but watch out your short-term time frames on a lot of these stocks. AMD didn't show it as well, right? A lot of overbought conditions on your 4 hours, which is why I'm expecting a pullback on many of these names, and the indexes as a whole. Your 1 hour and 4 hour charts are slightly overbought, and they have been overbought now for a few days, but Amazon looking very healthy, guys. Any pullback, you guys know the drill, is for a daily higher low for a daily trend change here, right? Look at this previous area of resistance, this whole area right here, right? So look between 134 and 132. You do have your moving averages down here as well. So if we get a pullback by the bulls, it will be for a breakout and then retest of this area for potential move higher. You guys also know that Amazon did a great job of saying no to the bearish weekly downtrend here, completely reversing, and now they will be looking to reset the weekly uptrend and set us more in motion for something like this into the end of the year, in my opinion. Amazon with very, very bullish earnings, so it wouldn't surprise me if any dips continue to be bought up by retail and institutions for the end of 2023 and into 2024. Very, very bullish chart here on the daily, on the weekly, and on the monthly as well. Amazon putting in their monthly higher low, bouncing beautifully off these moving averages here. So take a look for Amazon here, guys. If we do pull back, I may even be interested in writing some contracts below 130 if we do start pulling back into 135, 134 here. Now take a look at Google. Google performing decently, guys. Google coming through our area of resistance, right? Google, I sold my shares last Friday because I was expecting a pullback into this week here, guys, but this was a very bullish day for big tech as a whole here, guys. The rest of the market pulling back, but not big tech. So Apple and Google, I cut my positions last week, could have rolled them into this week, but I was expecting a pullback, did a bit of risk management and took them off the table, but that's okay. They continue to push higher. That's what we want for our longer term time frames here. Very, very healthy overall. So Google continues to take back more and more of this earnings move. We'll see how much they can get. As of now, they're already pulling up over 50% of this entire earnings move down here. So very, very healthy by Google. Google has a great chance now of, whenever they do pull back, setting the daily higher low and potentially setting the daily trend change here. Any move down above 121.60 will just be for your daily higher low for a move higher here. Now that they're above this whole area, these two yellow lines of resistance, it's very likely that we might encounter a shallow pullback and rise. If we do get a shallow pullback into 128, 127, I will be looking to write options 127 to 125. Going to keep it fairly tight for this week because I do want to re-enter some Google at a better price. I sold my shares at about 130.4, and so anything below that, guys, even if it's $100, $200, $300 off, I will be looking for that discount to get back into 100 shares of Google using put options, obviously here. So very, very healthy. And even on the weekly, guys, weekly is coming back up here, guys. Watch out for Google. I liked their earnings. The market reacted to them negatively initially, but I really, really like this chart here, guys. So step number one, need to see the bulls set the daily uptrend here. And then we will see how much of this weekly move are we going to be able to recapture, guys. Come all the way back up to 135, and it's going to be over for the bears. The bulls are going to have a nice attempt at a weekly trend change, get back to some weekly uptrends here after having lost it right here. Now they have to pretty much two-step it. I'd be very surprised if Google can V-shape this, but that will all be dependent on macro, obviously, here. Now let's move down to Meta. Meta performing fairly decently today, guys, holding up the gains at least. Not that much performance to the upside, but holding up the gains. Once again, we are just looking for any little bull flag here down for the daily trend change here. All these charts looking the same, just looking for your daily trend change confirmation here, right? So Meta bulls looking very, very healthy. Any pullback, guys, take a look at the area between these moving averages, 309 down to pretty much your 300 area. That was the area of contention for a very long time here. So if we do pull back, I'm expecting this area, right? Let's just mark it on the chart here. This area between about 309 and 300, right? Very, very contested area right here. So if we do pull back, look for that area to set the daily higher low. Pretty much anything above 280 is going to be the daily higher low for daily trend change attempt. And even on the weekly, guys, you guys can see that Meta had the weekly uptrend, almost lost it here, guys, and now they're trying to get it back. So we will see if they can V-shape this move or potentially have to two-step it into this area. But Meta earnings were very, very bullish. I really like them, and I do think they'll continue to do good things throughout Q4 and the beginning of 2024 as Mark Zuckerberg does continue with his cost-cutting endeavors, which have pretty much saved this stock price over the past year. So that's going to be the highlight of Meta stock. Meta bulls looking very, very healthy, just holding up gains. So just watch that higher low pullback into potentially daily uptrend start for Meta. Now, Microsoft on an absolute tear here, guys, right here. So daily uptrend is confirmed at this point. Microsoft was one of our only stocks here confirming the daily trend change here in the past 2 weeks with a very, very brutal recovery to the upside, guys. We are already targeting 52-week highs. 360 all the way to 366 is going to be your area of resistance. Microsoft running a little bit hot right now, not going to lie. 4 hour is a bit overbought as well. So we will see if they can continue to move higher and disregard our short-term technicals here. But if we do pull back, guys, just remember any pullback here is going to be for your daily higher low for continued daily uptrend. They don't have to change the daily trend. They already have it here. So daily uptrend in motion. This will just be for a daily higher low here. Target this area 345. In my opinion, this is going to be your previous resistance, which should now be support, and you will have your 12 EMA curling up into this area if we do start pulling back as well. So it remains to see what Microsoft will be doing here, but Microsoft looking very, very healthy, one of our healthiest tech names. They already have changed the weekly trend, right? Weekly downtrend, one move up, now leg number 2. So weekly uptrend is recaptured by Microsoft bulls here. Microsoft looking very, very healthy. Even on the monthly, guys, Microsoft monthly higher low is in. We're now charging 2 monthly higher highs at this point. Resistance stays put between 360 and 366. Very, very healthy on Microsoft. No red flags. Now, NVIDIA looking amazing, guys. 1.66% to the upside here. Very bullish move off of the nervous area. This is what I call the nervous area. The 404 down to 400, guys, is the flush zone, and they bounce beautifully off of this, right? So 1, 2 legs down, engulfing move by the bulls at this point. Now, if the bulls do have some time to reset here, I would be targeting this previous resistance area, right? So your whole 436, 437, horizontal resistance should now be horizontal support, and you will be having your moving averages as support as well. So if NVIDIA does need to take a little break, we're looking for the daily trend change, similar to the rest of the market here. Come down and sit. Give me a daily trend change. That will be a daily trend change to the bulls here. And then your weekly will have a better shot here at recapturing this high right here. 475 is the next area to watch. Crash 475, and you may be able to get your weekly uptrend back and going here into the later part of the year here. But step number 1 is change that daily trend. NVIDIA doing a very beautiful job here of coming off the lows. Bulls looking very, very healthy. But on the short side, guys, on the shorter time frames, we are slightly overbought. So just like the rest of the market, if we do get a pullback, guys, just look for the higher lows. The bulls need to play some defense at this point, guys. but NVIDIA looking very, very solid at this point. 437 should be the area to watch for you. Now let's move down to Tesla. Tesla here, bit of a red here day on the day here. We did pull up all the way into 226, but giving it all up. Well, not all of it, but we came all the way down to 215, ending pretty much in the middle of today's trading here, guys. So still looking to combat this daily downtrend here. Nice little engulfing move. We did crack 222 to the upside, which is the area we were looking for here. So 1, 2 legs down, engulfing move by the bulls. Step number 1 complete. Now looking to set the daily uptrend here. So similar to the rest of the market, anything above 194 is just going to be looking for that daily uptrend confirmation here to start recapturing more of this weekly move. Tesla obviously in a weekly downtrend at this point. So we are expecting the weekly lower high. In my opinion, 235 to 240 is going to be the major area of resistance for Tesla before they can attempt their weekly trend change into the end of the year, similar to a lot of stocks here. But for now, they have to set the daily uptrend first. If we do pull back, guys, I'm looking for potential pullback into 212, 210. If we get that, I will be writing some options 205 down to 200. Check the premium today, and it wasn't enough for me. I missed it at the lows of the morning here on the absolute morning here dip, right? Where it had a lot of premium in this area. And as we kind of trickled down here, guys, I wanted to see how low we could go. I really want to get into about the 212, 210 area. If it comes down there, I'll be able to get some juicy premium on the 200 puts, in my opinion here. So that's what I'm waiting for personally on Tesla. But bulls looking good, guys, creating a nice amount of space off the low. Now I just need to see the daily trend change here. And lastly, our two last ones, Palantir and PayPal. So Palantir here doing a very, very good job of upholding post-earnings gains. As I was saying last week, guys, this area 1830 all the way down to 18 is going to be your area of support. So look for the bulls to be using that. They used it today, and they did use it on Friday as well. So if we do pull back, guys, any little pullback here is for a daily higher low. Bulls looking once again for the trend change. They did a great job of engulfing both legs of selling down here. Now we just need to set the daily trend change. So if we do come sideways or slightly down here, look for this area to play as your support for the daily trend change to potentially move higher on Palantir. Palantir looking very bullish on the longer time frames. This is a weekly uptrend confirmed last week with earnings by the bulls, and now we do have a shot at your first monthly uptrend pretty much in the history of Palantir here. So we will see if they can do it. That would be a crack of 20.16, these previous 52-week highs right here. So we'll see if they can get it done. But step number 1 is change that daily trend to the upside here. But bulls looking very, very healthy, guys. No red flags whatsoever on Palantir. And lastly, PayPal here. PayPal pulling back 2.5%, guys. Bit of a major pullback on PayPal. Was not expecting such a big pullback, but they did create a new high on the day and then pretty much gave it all away, guys. You can see it was a pretty nasty day right from the open on PayPal as people are just consolidating their gains here, but looking fairly decently, guys, right? So we were looking for a slight little pullback. This is a daily engulfing move. They engulfed the 5450 resistance here, and now we're looking to push to the upside here, just looking for the daily higher low. Anything above 50.3 is going to be looking for a daily higher low for daily trend change attempt. We will see if PayPal can actually do that. This would be your first daily uptrend since August, need I remind you. So very curious to see if PayPal bulls are going to be able to pull that off. That is what I'm looking for. That is step number 1, guys. Can't comment on the higher time frames. We're obviously in a weekly confirmed downtrend, so we are looking for a weekly higher low, but I need to see the bulls push up as high as possible against 65, right, to give us the best chance. So I need to see a nice little daily uptrend here into the 60, 62, 64 level, and then they will have a good shot at reversing potentially the last weekly downtrend here, setting up a weekly uptrend potential into the end of the year. But step number 1, give me that daily uptrend. Until PayPal can do that, we are not out of the woods here, guys, right? So looking for that. And if for some reason we roll all the way back down here, you guys know I've been saying it for a while, below 50 all the way down to 45 is where I'll be averaging down. Now just looking for a little bit of gains here. Even if we do pull back ever so slightly, I may just target the 5150 puts here for this week. So that's pretty much it for your technical analysis. Now let's cover our portfolio ever so briefly, and it logged me out. Great. Okay, guys, so taking a look at the portfolio right now, you will see that we did have a slight little pullback here as some of the shares that we are assigned and holding long did pull back, and the ones that we sold, Google and Apple, last week obviously continued to run up. So a little bit of a negative day here on the portfolio here, still performing at about 30% on the year. So this is pretty much year-to-date performance, beating the S&P 500 here. S&P 500 currently standing at 13.5%, and we are still above the NASDAQ here. NASDAQ is trailing us very, very closely here, guys, right? We are up 30.28, and you can see the NASDAQ almost at 30 here. So trying to still outperform the NASDAQ without holding any of the big tech names that are up 60, 70, 100% this year, right? Your NVIDIAs, your Microsofts, your Googles, your Facebooks, right? So none of that did we hold long term. We still performed very beautifully on the year so far. And you can see the positions here, guys, only opened a few new positions. We are still covered into Rivian earnings here for tomorrow. So we do have the 18.5 calls on. As we got assigned at 18.5, our average cost on Rivian is now down into the 17s. So we do have a little bit of a cushion still. Our average cost is down to 17.35, this line right here. So fairly in line with the market right away. We'll see what happens with earnings tomorrow. We did write the Airbnb 113s, got about 61 cents for that. So over 0.5%, which is exactly what I'm looking for on a weekly basis for everything I write, 0.5% to 1%. So Airbnb 113s are obviously right below our previous lows right here. So we will see if we get assigned or not. Wouldn't mind either way. The AMD 102 calls, we're still rolling them, guys. Got some decent premium. Got 70 cents on the week for these 102 rolled calls from previously. Our average cost on AMD is now around $96 something. So very, very good decision here. We will see if AMD continues to pull back, guys. We may be able to once again roll them for next week. I did also write some Fortinet here. So Fortinet 4-7.5s, which I covered previously in the video, that is going to be the area that I'm looking to buy this company at. 47.5 is towards the lower end of my sweet spot here. Very, very solid previous support. So going to be looking to be potentially assign those shares. If I'm not, we'll continue to collect the premium here. I only wrote one contract, so not too heavy. If we continue pulling back, guys, I may even write the 47s or the 46s for this week. But for now, only one contract, 25 cents, which is over 0.5% for this as well. And you can see everything that got called away last week on Friday. So the apples were out of, the ELF expired worthless pretty much. The Fortinet 47.5s for last week as well expired worthless. And the Rivian covered calls for last week as well. So as you can see down here, guys, we are still in our AMD. We still have the shares of UPS, not high enough yet to be writing some covered calls on. We obviously still have our beloved PayPal here. Rivian, TMF, which is your 20-year yields. We'll see if yields continue to keep dropping here and push this stock up a little bit. We still have our CSIQ, not high enough for me to be writing covered calls either. And my Canadian banking ETF, which continues to struggle here at 52-week lows or roughly around there. So still a lot of money to be made on shares upside here that we're down on. So we will see how we close out the end of the year, but fairly bullish in terms of the end of the year, in my opinion here. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video. That's all I had for you today. Big earnings tomorrow, so we will take a look at those here. And I hope you guys had a great week. And as always, if you did like the video, consider liking. Really helps me out for the algorithm. Consider subscribing to the channel. If you're new, we'd love to have you here. And thanks so much for over 440 subscribers, guys. I love you. And as always, if you have any questions, you'll see a few people ask me questions in the comments about macro, stocks, options, whatever you want, guys. I will answer you and get back to you pretty much within the first 24 hours when you ask me a question. So feel free to leave a comment down below. I will see you guys tomorrow after the close. Take care and peace.